So let me just bring a quick correction in, because you're gonna hear me say that most people think that the first fruit deals with their possessions, and it does. So I'm gonna read to you the scripture in which it comes from, but this is not the only revelation of the first fruits, okay, that I'm gonna break down in this video, okay? But Proverbs 3 verses 9 and 10 says, honor the Lord with your possessions and with the first produce of your entire harvest. Then your barns will be completely filled and your vats will overflow with new wine. Okay. So we are supposed to honor the Lord with our possessions. And the first produce, this looks like the first of your paycheck before you pay your bills, is a form of a first fruit. Okay. All right. Means to give to God first rather than waiting to give. Back in the old day, when they dealt with the first produce of the entire harvest, they would give the best, choicest produce and or meats, okay, of the harvest to God. Okay, this is what it means. All right, so I want to do a revelation on the first fruits, and what it actually means. A lot of people think, oh, I'm supposed to give God money, yeah, and then the Bible does say that to give the first fruits of thine increase, but it's not. It's actually speaking about it in another way. So Jesus was a form of a first fruit. Okay, God gave his only begotten son to us, okay, so that whosoever believeth on him will not perish but have everlasting life. Okay, so Jesus Christ was the first fruits unto God, in that he was the first to be resurrected. Okay, so the 144,000 consist of the first fruits, consist of the chosen ones, those who belong to God. Okay, they are a first fruit. Okay, these are those who accept the gospel and endure to the end in faithfulness. Okay, now I want to also go here and explain to you what the first, with regards to the first fruit. Okay, so in the Old Testament, the idea of first fruits involved an offering of the first and best fruits of a harvest. Okay, it was to be a portion of a harvest that was set apart and consecrated to God. It recognized him as the God of the harvest and demonstrated trust in him to provide for the remainder of the season. Okay, so this is what was done in the Old Testament. We see that when Abel gave the best, when Abel gave God his best offering that came from the first of his, let me see what it says here in Genesis. It's right here. It says, and Abel also presented an offering, some of the firstborn of his flock and their fat portions. And so this is why the Lord had regard for Abel's offering over Cain's, because it was the best. It was the first fruit, okay, of his increase. Okay, so this is what it means by first fruits. All right, are you a first fruit of Christ? A lot of the times it equates to the firstborn also in the family. Like when you give your firstborn, like Hannah, we can use Hannah for an example in the Bible, when she begged God to give her a child so that she could give it back to God. So that's what she did. When God honored, he gave Hannah a double portion of favor, and she gave her son back to God. So this is what it looks like. The firstborn, that's your very first, that's your best, it goes to God. When I had an abortion, and I sacrificed that child to God in exchange for him to close up my womb, that's what I did. Okay, we can see it. This is why it was reversed in Pharaoh's army. You see, in Pharaoh's army, when one of the plagues was to take one of the firstborns. See, he took the best. He killed everybody's firstborn child in Pharaoh's whole camp, because it was considered to be a first fruit. So he took the best because of his disobedience. And so this is what it looks like. I mean, this is what it is when God, when we bore children, the firstborn belongs to God. It's considered as the first fruit. But God is in charge of, who is who, because Jeremiah 1:5 tells us who he said, I chose you, you didn't choose me. Okay, so God chose the firstborn. He chose his first fruits. He chose the 144,000 before the very foundations of this world. We learned about that in Jeremiah 1:5, where he says, I ordained thee, I sanctified thee while you were in your mother's womb, a prophet to the nations. I set you apart for my use. Okay. And these are the sons and daughters of God. This is the 144,000. These are those who are chosen, the chosen ones. For many are called, but only a few are chosen. Okay, the chosen are God's first fruit, and they belong to God. They've been separated for God's use. Okay. All right. This is what the revelation is of first fruits, guys. Be blessed.